I don't follow you because I don't think it's what happened. I think they created a
Well,
scene.
you're wrong.
I've seen this episode many times.
And now it's time for us to digest the lowest rung of pop culture so you don't have to. You're tuned in to the all-new Culture Cast. Welcome back, everyone, to the all-new Culture Cast. And I'm your host, Nick. And with me today, we got a smorgasbord of people. I'll let them introduce themselves. Brian, you go first.
Hey, it's Brian. Happy to be back. Just watched the third one. It's hot off the presses. I cannot wait to talk about it. Very excited.
Oh my
And
gosh. And this is Rick, and I'm looking forward to the most excellent podcast.
and we have a brand new person joining us tonight who I'll let him introduce himself.
Hi, my name is Mike. I just watched the third film on Friday night, and if I ruined this segment, you have Rick to blame for that.
We can't get any lower than we already are, so don't worry about that.
Oh, that sounds like a challenge. Don't challenge me on this.
Gauntlet thrown. Yeah, so as Brian alluded to and Rick did and whatnot, we are talking about the third Bill and Ted movie, which was just released this past weekend as of this recording, Bill and Ted Face the Music. Last week, Brian and I and Gorehound, who is not with us tonight, who didn't even see the other two, but joined us for the show anyway.
How do you get out of talk about movies you've never even seen?
I've known Gorehound for a good 10 years now, and that's perfectly within his character to do something crazy like that. So that's
You just look it up on Wikipedia?
he just wanted to join in the discussion. I'm not gonna lie, we've done an episode in the past on the movie Clueless, and I hadn't seen it, but I jumped on the episode, and my take was, convince me to see this movie. What's so great about it? And it worked out fine. We had a good we last week, Rick and Mike, we had a good discussion in that we veered off topic so many times. I don't know if it counts as a discussion.
Focused on these movies, unfortunately. I think that says something.
But just to recap, to get everyone on the same page about where we are on our thoughts on the first two before we jump into this third installment made, 28 years later. Brian, if I may, I think you did not like either one of the original two.
Well, I mean, that's probably true. I like the first one a little bit, and I like the second one even less. I didn't even finish the second one.
Oh, wow.
I had seen it before. I've seen both of these movies, the first two, many times, years and years ago. But I had not, I rewatched them for the talk. And the second one, like I said, couldn't even get. The special effects were horrible. The story was horrible. It was tough. The first movie, passable. Enjoyed it. Never as good as you remember, but yeah.
My thoughts were, I think the original one is a classic. It's one I wouldn't say I grew up with it, because I think I started watching it towards the I guess I kind of grew up with it. 8 or 9 when I first started watching it, and I've seen it numerous times since then. Me, I love that first original one. I think it's great. It's a great 80s movie, great fun comedy. It's just good. Second one, I'm not a fan of. I think it gets muddled. I think it's all over the place. I echo Brian's sentiments that the special effects are really dodgy for this time and given the budget the movie had. I appreciate what they were trying to do with it, but doesn't come together. The only thing that makes the movie very watchable for me is the character of Death, who just steals that film and everything he does. But yeah, the second one I saw once in theaters, and when it first came out, and then I was like, as a kid, I'm like, this is not good. And as a kid, you shouldn't be saying that, because it's like, yeah, you're like, yeah, pretty much. And I watched it again a couple of years later, and I liked it a little bit more. I appreciate it a little bit better when I saw it. I think I saw it on TV or something. But I still am like, and then my thoughts are pretty much the same with that. So, Rick, Mike, if you guys could recap, what are your thoughts on the first two? Mike, I'll let you go first because I can, and you're the new person here. So.
Well, thank you. I don't know how much I can. It's been a while since I've seen both of them. I did rewatch the first one today. I'm in a weird situation where I've actually seen Bogus Journey more than the first one. I don't know why that happened, but I don't know. I liked it. It was goofy. It was silly. There was a bunch of nightmare fuel in it with the grandma and the Easter bunny. But yeah, like you guys said, I think death kind of stole the show for the movie, and I think that's probably why I liked it more. And you can't go wrong with evil Bill and Ted robots.
That's right.
Rick, what about you?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think they're like A+ movies or not AAA movies, but they're good, solid, late 80s, early 90s comedies that have, underneath the surface a bit of genius with them. That they're well put together. The whole plot. I like the first one. I like the second one. In fact, I like the second one better than the first one.
Oh God.
Hey man,
Get out.
the whole fact that they have like these robots that are going after them and they kill them and they go to hell and they gotta escape and they play death in those games and then death joins them for their journey and then they
And they're
go to
playing
heaven.
Battleship too.
I thought it was all really well done. And the first one when they're going through time and they get Napoleon, they bum him off on his one of the characters' brothers.
That's
And
fun.
Napoleon is just so serious, and he just ends up getting into all these like ridiculous situations where he's bowling and he's swearing because he's getting gutter balls, and then they ditch him.
And then he steals all the ice cream too.
The funniest part though is when they ditch him at the bowling alley, and then he gets thrown out, and then they just have a long shot of like an empty parking lot and him just out there at night, and then you hear like the kind of like the Napoleonic music. Going like him, like trying to get his pride back. He's like fixing his shirt and everything, And then he goes to Waterloo. I mean, it's just, I don't know. It's
funny.
they're great
That's
movies. They're good.
I
Movies.
agree.
You can't be.
It's not Back to the Future, but it's goofy, lighthearted, it's silly.
Yeah.
One of the things that I noticed, one comment about the original two that it never clicked with me, but yeah, they're right. Surprisingly, every YouTuber and podcaster has talked about the Bill and Ted movies this past week. Who knew that was going to happen? And I've checked out a couple, and one of them, I can't remember which one because they all blend together after a while, mentioned how the first one, like there's only like 2 or 3 years in between each movie, and the first one could not be more 80s, and the second one could not be more 90s.
Mhm.
And it's like,
right.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's an interesting observation on that. But
Well, they were saying
I'm a
the reason for that apparently is that the movie was actually shot like 2 or 3 years before it was released because the company that shot the movie like went bankrupt or something. Somebody else had to pick it up or something.
It was made in like 87 and wasn't released until like 89 or something.
Is that right? I didn't know that.
Yeah. In fact, listen to this. They started like the script writing and everything like that before Back to the Future came out. And originally, the time machine was going to be a van, which would make more sense because they're a band in a van.
Yeah.
But then when Back to the Future came out, they're like, okay, we can't do the car thing. Let's switch it over to something else. So they went with the phone booths.
Well,
Which has never been done before, of course.
No, yeah,
Eh?
exactly.
That's why it feels so 80. That's so great. And it does feel very 80. That's funny you say that because I was thinking 89. I'm surprised this feels so 80s. But now that makes a lot more sense.
Yeah.
And that makes the movie good. It feels 90s. What makes it bad? Because quite frankly, a lot of movies in the 90s, I do not think hold up like movies from the 80s. That's my opinion, but
I agree with you. Although lately, the past couple of months, and I pin it solely on me watching that Bulls documentary, The Last Dance, because they talked all about the whole 90s.
Yeah.
I've kind of I wouldn't say I have a 90s nostalgia, but I have I'm looking more fondly back on that decade than the 80s lately. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. But so we recapped where we stand with the first two. Let's jump into this new one. Face the Music. We're 25 years later. Bill and Ted have had a career in music, have not have a career in music. They had their time. They haven't written the song that's supposed to unite the world. And because of that, time is starting to fold in on itself for reasons left unexplained. and so they have to go on a journey to find this song because they decide to steal it from themselves in the future. Their grown daughters get involved, and hijinks ensue. So initial impressions of this Face the Music. Brian, I'm going to go with you because you cannot be more hot off the presses on this.
Oh, well, I didn't hate it, so there's that.
Whoa.
No, I thought it was clever. It had some really good moments. And I'm going to start from the back and work my way forward. I like how the movie ended in the credits, everyone playing music. It's got an overall theme where we're uniting with music. And isn't that what makes music great? Different people, different backgrounds can all enjoy the same music. And I think that's just that's the theme, I think, of the movies really overall, to some extent. And then, with the daughters being the ones that really shape the future, I really thought that was well done. I wasn't thinking that hard about it. I wasn't giving the movie that much credit to really figure that out. And when it happened, I'm like, well done. I was impressed. And I mean, there was some stupid parts, sure, but it's Bill and Ted's. I mean, that's what do you expect? But overall, I think it was as good, if not better, than it could have ever been. That being said, my expectations were pretty low after number 2. So that's it for me right now.
All right, Rick, what about you?
I agree. I think it was as good as it possibly could have been. It was maybe even a little bit better than I thought it was going to be. It's probably my least favorite out of the 3. Like if I had to go back and watch another one again, maybe the third one would be my least one that I would want to go back to. But I thought it was clever. I wish the movie would have been made and shot maybe 10 or 20 years ago. I feel like Bill and Ted just look so old,
Bill
and it's
doesn't
weird.
Bill doesn't look that bad. If I can interject, I'm sorry. Bill
No,
doesn't
yeah.
look too bad. Who looks weird is Keanu Reeves.
He does for some reason. It doesn't make any sense
What's
because when you see him in his other movies, with the what's the action movie?
John Wick.
Yeah, with John Wick, he looks amazing, right? He looks like he could kick anybody's butt, but in this one, for some reason, he looks strange.
Well, he shaved for this too.
Yeah.
I think he looks fine with the goatee or whatever.
Yeah.
He looks like age has not been his friend, but when he has that goatee, yeah, middle-aged Keanu Reeves needs the goatee.
He just seems a little stiff for some reason. Like I liked the characters of Bill and Ted and how they were, stupid kind of stoner kids, although you didn't see them doing anything, drug related and like that, but they were very positive, and the way they kind of moved and interacted was very like fluid and loose, and it, you don't really see that here. They seem very stiff and stuff. So it's just kind of off-putting.
Bill, we gotta go.
Yeah. They're getting old.
Yeah, but I do think it was very clever how Bill and Ted were moving into the future, while the daughters were moving into the past.
Interesting, yeah.
And I like how they were running into themselves, and because that's kind of been the theme is like in the first movie they ran into themselves slightly in the future, them telling them to go on this journey, and then number 2 they kind of run into the evil us's, the robots. And this one they're running into themselves in the future, and they're basically like what they say is dickwads, right? And it's just humorous, like how they run into them at and you see them progress down this path of destruction. Like, their wives left them, the princesses, now they're drinking and like playing like some sort of bar and just a mess. And then you move forward a little bit in the future, they're in prison. Then you move a little bit further in the future, and they're basically hanging out at Dave Grohl's house trying to trick them. And so I thought all that was very clever.
Question about that. How did that work? They're working their way forward in the future. They're in prison, and all of a sudden they're in the retirement home where it looks like they had a decent life, and they're just old and dying. And then
let's pause on that because we'll get to there. Because I have a ton of questions about that.
Okay, great. Because it doesn't sit right with me. But I'm glad we're going to talk about it later.
Mike, what are your initial impressions?
I loved it. It couldn't have come at a better time. Let's face it, 2020 has been an absolute nightmare, and it was kind of nice to have something positive and silly to look forward to. And it was just, I don't know, it was uplifting. It was nice to revisit these old characters that we've grown up with and not betray the characters. Yeah, I mean, we have shows right now that have betrayed the characters, Picard, but it was nice. But it's just, I saw the trailer for it and I'm like, yeah, this looks silly, this looks goofy, this looks ridiculous, but it looks non-threatening, this looks perfect. And we watched it Friday night, and usually I'm playing World of Warcraft while we're watching the movie, and I was actually watching the movie. I wasn't playing the game, I was actually like involved with it. And it's not perfect, but then again, the other two movies weren't perfect either, so that was fine. It reached my expectations and then some.
I mean, to Mike's point, right? They actually felt like the characters. They did a great
Right.
job capturing who they were as characters 25 years later. I didn't watch this and say, oh, this is not how they would be at this age, or this doesn't feel right. It feels,
Exactly, and it didn't feel forced either. It felt like they were naturally doing
It's
it.
the same writers. It's the same
Mhm.
writers. So that's good. You know, I think you have to have the same writers.
Well, it's hard to recapture characters after that amount of time and make them
Oh,
feel
yeah.
real and natural, and they did that. If that's maybe the single-handed most successful part of this movie, that's
Well,
not.
a couple things. I was surprised by how many characters they were able to have come back, and like I have to say that the dad of one of the characters, Bill and Ted are so close to being the same character. It's hard for me to tell which one's which. But one of the characters had the military dad or whatever, right?
Yeah,
He looked
Yeah.
really good for his age. I'm like, holy crap, that guy is never gonna die. And even
Mhm.
Death looked really good. You know, I was shocked. You know, they aged better than Bill and Ted did. You know.
well, definitely someone in this corner, I think.
Yeah.
I might be the lone writer here. I wasn't too keen on this movie. I mean, there are parts I liked, but I just thought it was kind of a mess. And I know I'm probably alone on this because everyone on the internet seems to be busting a nut over it. But I just
Language.
fuck that. But I didn't. The plot was overcomplicated and undercooked, if that makes any sense.
Yes.
There was them going into the future. Brian, one of the complaints I had about the movie is the same thing you were kind of touching on, about how they kept going to like different parts of their future and life just got worse and worse, and then things are fine, and it's never explained. It's not explained as well why they need Bill and Ted to write the song to unite the world, yes, but why everything starts folding in on itself, that I don't that
Yeah,
makes
but
no sense.
here's the problem though is I know we're all very logical here and we like to have everything wrapped up in a nice bow, but Bill and Ted is not the movie where you're supposed to be picking it apart like that. Like none of the movies make sense. In the first movie, they have like randomly like, "Oh, don't forget to come back here and we'll put a bucket and we'll just have the bucket happen to somehow fall on your dad's head at exactly the moment we need it in the police station." Like that would
Well,
never
see,
happen.
that's
You
a
know?
different. That's like a little plot convenient plot. I don't know what you want to
Yeah.
call it. That's a little thing. This other thing is like the whole like story hinges on it, and I mean, here's another thing that I had an issue with. I guess is like in the other movies, they kind of established that this was going to happen regardless. There's no fate. There's no chance. Bill and Ted never had any. There was never any doubt that Bill and Ted wouldn't pass their history exam. And it wasn't so much about them passing their exams, like how are they going to do it so you're along on their journey. Um, Here, it's kind of like suddenly no one knows anything about the past and the future, and no one knows about how whether or not Bill and Ted actually write the song. Um,
Well, they tried to address that, which I give them credit for trying to address that, where they said, well, Rufus's interpretation of the sacred whatever the heck is different than some people's. At least they attempted to address
yeah.
it. It's
I love the robot in the movie. I thought he was hilarious.
At first,
Oh.
I did not like him,
You
and
mean Jar
then
Jar Binks? Come
Once
on,
again,
seriously.
it was funny. He's like a robot that has like no confidence, and he's like, he gets in the van and he's like, I'm ready to rock, and then Death turns around, he's like, you need to earn the right to rock.
That was
It's a
good line.
shame because he is a really good actor, but I do agree he was not great in this.
Who was he?
He's if you ever watched the show Barry on HBO, he's NoHo Hank. He's kind of like a mobster, contract killer. He's hilarious on the show. He's actually a really good actor. But yeah, I kind of felt like he wasn't that great in this. It was kind of a distraction.
He could have done something a little more.
Yeah.
Not his fault. I just think it was the way it was written. I think.
Yeah.
Just.
I don't know. For me, the robot was the best part of the movie. I was pleasantly amused by said robot there, but I guess your mileage may vary. But I don't know. I didn't like hate the movie. I'm not Brian, where I just hate everything Bill and Ted related.
But
But
Brian liked this.
Yeah.
I'm just giving him a hard time. But I didn't hate the movie. I was just kind of like, oh, okay.
I didn't like how I mean how people were just appearing randomly. I think they could have just not even had that, and you know what I mean. The whole something's wrong. We need to go fix it. Like I don't even really care what the explanation is. It's an excuse to go off on an adventure and to have funny things happen. But them having these people like appearing and disappearing, I'm like, we didn't really need that. I thought them going into the future and talking to the future people, out of the 3 movies, this was the worst version of that. Like in the first one, when they go to the future, they look so cool sitting up there, and then they have all the people come in, and they all kind of like strum the guitar, like it's like a greeting or something like that. And it was cool music, and even the second one where they're kind of wearing like what looked like Nerf clothes almost was interesting. And I don't know. I thought that the future they go into was the worst looking one, and
It was
all
very
those scenes
generic.
The special effects were still bad, right? It's pretty sad to say the first movie still has almost the best special effects out of all 3.
See, the special effects didn't bother me in this one, honestly. I thought the special effects were fine for what they did. It's clearly the future is all green screen.
It just looked like
yeah.
screen. It didn't look like they were actually even there. I mean, you expect a lot in 2020 with these movies, what they can do and where they can put people.
Well, the other thing too is like this is Bill and Ted 3. I think it's going to do well, but I think they probably is safer to keep the budget low if possible.
Right. I mean, it's yeah. I want to pull up really quickly what the budget for this film was.
Yeah, I mean they probably said, "Can you do it
25
for
million.
X or you can't do it?"
That's
It's
pretty
like,
low.
yeah,
Though.
we'll make it work.
So I mean, for 25 million, I think for 2020 the effects were fine, good enough. They weren't distracting, at least to me, the way the Bogus Journey effects were.
Sure.
And I know that was 1991, and I know that was a low budget movie, but for a low budget movie in 91,
I don't know what effect you're referring to that you guys hate so much.
Oh
I mean,
my God! When they go to heaven, when they go anywhere, anything.
Hey,
like
when
the
they
ghost
go
effects, there's like they're really bad green screen effects, like when they're trying to pan up to the sky. It's clear it was like a screen. It's very distracting to the eye.
When they go to hell and then they're standing on those floating rocks and they start yelling at like the devil and the devil starts pulling them in and they have to climb up and stuff. I mean, all that looked really good, I thought.
I mean, that was some good set work there. I'll grant you that, but like they blew their budget on that, and then the other simpler stuff was I don't know. It's just distracting.
I literally have no excuse for a movie not having enough budget for special effects. Have you heard something called Star Wars? The first Star Wars movie didn't have any budget, and that movie still looks pretty darn good. There's no excuse. They can make something look good. It's how you do it.
Yeah, I don't know. Did you see Star Wars Episode 1, 2, and 3? That had a pretty high budget and looked pretty crappy.
Yeah. Well, again, sometimes the technology's not there. We're gonna take a topic here, but I think sometimes half the time models look better than CGI, depending on what it is and how they do it.
I guess it's a comedy. It doesn't need to look good. This movie doesn't need to look good.
Can't
That's
distract.
true. Although I do prefer in movies when they use practical effects, even if they don't look as good as CGI. It's just even watching the older movies when you see practical effects, there's just something kind of cool about it.
What do you guys think about the daughters?
Well cast. I think they did a good job.
Yeah, they were good.
Yeah, I like them.
I was very nervous that they were going to be really annoying. Like watching the trailer, I was like, I don't know.
That's the thing. I thought they were, but they weren't. They were borderline. Any more it would have been, but I think it was spot on.
It wasn't terrible. I think the funniest line, and they did give it away in the trailer, was when they go to couples therapy. Like, don't you think this is a little weird? Oh, it's a couple of couples. I love that.
You know what this movie does well? They're not scared to make fun of themselves, and that's making fun of themselves. That idea you just talked about.
Yeah.
How they're always together, and that is funny.
Yeah, I agree. Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you stopped walking out of that. I'm sorry.
The movie, it doesn't take that long to go through these movies.
No, it really doesn't. That's kind of the beauty of it. And I do think the reason why a lot of people really like this movie right now, I think timing is a great issue. It's just, it's a horrible time right now. And it's kind of nice to see something that's a little more uplifting. You're seeing characters that you grew up with that you really like that are still positive, even when horrible things happen to them. Right. It's nice.
I also thought it was a good idea. I mean, it is a little bit of a retread, but like in the first one, they're going back to get historical characters to pass the history exam. And number two, obviously, they're trying to basically, get back to the real world, defeat the bad guys, and they play that concert at the end. But in this one, they're kind of going back to get people to create a band, So I thought that was an interesting concept is trying to build up that band to be able to.
And I did like the twist with the daughters. I actually didn't see that coming. That was a nice surprise, like Brian pointed out.
Yeah, and I like the idea of why not go in the future and just take the song? If we haven't written it, if we do write it, let's go get it. I that right there, that's the movie. That one line, that's the plot, that's the movie, and it works well, I think.
But they already did that in number two, didn't they? They said we'll go to the future and take it from our. Didn't they do that in the Bogus Journey? Where they
went to get lessons to play in the future.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
And that song was pretty good, I thought. For the finale.
Yeah. The thing that I know you said that we can't be looking too deep in this movie, but with Bill and Ted, they had like their rules of how time travel works.
Which they break in the first and second one, so.
Well, do they break in the first one? I didn't think they did.
Well, in the first one, they say, "Hey, wherever you go, time in the present keeps ticking." And
in
yet,
number two,
the second one, they disappear for years, have a kid, learn how to play, grow beards, write a song, and then come back 2 seconds later.
Actually, they don't write a song. They just use this. They play at the end of Bogus Journey. What was it? God Gave You Rock and Roll. I can't remember what it is. Not important.
I think that was supposed to, I know, but I think that was supposed to be the song that they wrote. They were pretending that that was their song in that universe. Well, they weren't like a cover band,
Another reason why Bogus Journey sucks. They don't explain that. But anyway,
so we're just gonna crap on a Bogus Journey right now. Okay.
Yes, that'll be from. We've done 170, however more we have to do. We're gonna crap on this movie for end time. No, but in this one here, the thing I didn't quite understand is, and this is a problem for me. I know you say you can't be looking for logic, but a movie needs to have at least some sort of internal logic for it to make sense and for it to like be put together. The idea is that Bill and Ted don't perform that song, reality explodes on itself. Fine. If Bill and Ted keep going to the future, and the first time they go, they don't have the song. The second time they go, they don't have the song. They don't get into their old men, and the old men's lives are completely different than the other two versions. like, do Bill and Ted then still lead those crappy lives and somehow everything works out? Or
Well, I mean, you could say, if we didn't write the song, then if we go in the future, isn't reality gone?
Ain't
or
no
whatever?
future, man. How do they even go to the future?
Right.
How do you
Yeah,
even go to the
that's-
future, right? So if you want to be logical, there's no movie, Nick. Movie's over. You killed the movie.
it seems like that's like a glaring hole.
We can't have anything nice in 2020, can we?
No, we can't.
I can't wait for this year to end.
We can't. Like, I know old Bill says something like, "Oh, there are infinite paths and infinite futures," and what? And the and I also had a problem with like how suddenly at the end of the movie they were able to like multiply themselves and go throughout all time periods. Like, there was no setup for that. It was just like, just tile infinite. Who told them about that? How do they know about that? I mean,
I didn't
any
think they
movie
needed
should have
to
like
do that.
what's that?
I didn't think they needed to do that. The whole thing where they split up and give instruments to everybody. I don't think they needed. The movie didn't really need that. I could have survived without that.
Well, that's how
But
that's how everyone gets united. Is they all have instruments, they play together. That's the united.
Well, I know, but I'm just saying, like, they could have just came up with anything. It would have been fine. But I think they could have used the going to the future and the infinite futures a little more humorously. Like, what if they would have gone to one future where Bill and Ted were super smart, and they would have found them and like, learned about quantum mechanics or something that to give them something to take back with them to help fix something or something like that,
Mm-hmm.
Different realities, basically, is what you're talking about.
Right. Different Bill and Ted's. Like, what if they go to one and like, Bill and Ted are like president and vice president or something, So, I don't know. It would be just funny, like whatever excuse to make it funny and go with the characters,
And we almost did have that when they were at the mansion, but then we found out it was actually the other Bill and Ted just playing a trick on them, saying, they were at Dave Grohl's mansion.
You know what I think would have worked, at least for me, is that if it was somehow explained that every time they went into the future, that experience changed them, which then changed the future time. So that's why they're at Dave Grohl's house the next time. That's why after those experiences,
Yes.
they finally got their shit together because they realized we don't want to be in this. Because they go to prison after that, I think, and
you don't get ripped and not be. You can't unrip yourself when you're that ripped. You're like the egos. Woo.
Well, I don't think they didn't really need the if you don't get the song written, all reality is gonna fall apart, like, because that was never really the plot of the first and second one. It wasn't like this absolutely needs to happen. It needs to happen in order for mankind to come together and make a better future. It wasn't like the world's gonna like destroy itself, So they could have kept it simpler. They could have just been like, you guys are supposed to have written the song, by this date, and you haven't yet. Like, what is going on? We need you to get moving. But you also need something to kind of like have like the adrenaline, like
a countdown. Like, what happens if they don't write it?
Well, that's the thing. That I think what changed is everyone expected them to write it and all to work out, and the future saw that it was working out, but not how they had thought it was, and that's when they started to second guess that Bill and Ted were maybe the ones.
Here's the other thing too: is like when they're talking about like going to the future and stealing it from themselves, the future would already have the song. Like, they already have the freaking album.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? They should have gone to the future and stole it from like a museum or something. That would have been kind of funny.
But the movie would have been over in 20 minutes,
True.
But maybe it could have been like they get caught or they had to leave or something. But
we didn't.
Or they get it and they don't know how to play it because they don't have like a future CD player or something, Like, shit, There's a lot of things that could have happened.
Weird that when they were in the mansion in 2025, that the older Bill and Ted, the English-speaking ones, actually gave them a CD. Wasn't that weird to anybody? Did anybody notice that?
Yeah.
Just 5 years from now, and they handed younger them the 2020 version is an actual compact disc. This is the song. I don't know. I just thought that was weird. We can do that now.
Also,
yeah, it's not like a flash drive or anything.
They go 30 years in the future, and he hands him a flash drive. and it's like,
But it was a future flash drive.
yeah.
20 terabytes.
Yeah, right.
Well, and the whole universe collapsing on itself actually reminded me of a Doctor Who episode. There's an episode called the Wedding of River Song, where this character is supposed to follow this certain line of events, but she goes away from it, and then the universe starts collapsing, like dinosaurs start appearing in recent time, and it just kind of reminded me of that a little bit.
So Bill and Ted 3 ripped off Doctor Who.
A little
Again.
bit. Again, yes.
Check.
But I'm
Got
okay
that.
with it.
I thought it was funny that they brought back the Missy plot, and
That
then
was-
now he's
That's great. That's good.
divorced and married the brother.
Yeah.
There's I'm surprised they didn't reference it, but who knows? I guess it doesn't make a difference. At the end of Bill and Ted 2, when they had like the montage of all the clips of like how they're going to be becoming a great band and everything, there's a little a headline that says Missy DeWed, whoever the villain was for that movie. I can't think of his name off the top of my head. And I'm like, I wonder if they'll reference that, but they didn't. But
But they still did reference a lot of the stuff that was in those, because Brian, you didn't finish it, but at the end of Bogus Journey, they have all these newspaper clippings that come up
Yes.
saying what's happening, like Bill and Ted play the Grand Canyon, and then talks about that Death left the band to put his own album out, and it bombed, and all this stuff. But they reference that in this. They're like they're not friends with Death because Death went off, and they're like Death, you can't have 40-minute bass solos. So he's like, I was in the groove.
I would listen to that.
I'm so glad, because I was really wondering, based on the previews, it sounded like nothing happened in between the second one and the third one, and the second one established that they actually became successful musicians. So I was wondering, like, how are they going to, like, are they just going to ignore that, which a lot of sequels tend to ignore stuff like that to make their story work? But I'm glad they did. I'm glad to learn they actually were successful in, like, say, the 90s, and then they just kind of dropped off the map. Especially since they said, like, what about our fans? And they referenced 3 people.
Yes, that was great. And we haven't heard from one of them in a while.
I mean, that was like a funny throwaway line, and there's a lot of good things in this movie. Like, I said, I didn't hate it. It's just, for me, for a movie to work, I have to buy into like the plot, and I just it wasn't all coming together for me.
I hear you. It could have been a little bit better, but again, I still think it's just an excuse to go off on an adventure. I thought the adventure was good.
Keanu Reeves needs to learn how to smile again. I don't think he smiles in this movie. Ted was always smiling. Even on the poster,
That was
Keanu
weird
Reeves,
too. That was
Keanu
weird.
Reeves doesn't. Even on the poster, Keanu Reeves is not smiling. It's like, smile, man.
Because he knew what was coming in 2020. It was hard for him to smile. He knew what was coming for us.
Maybe he just wasn't happy in doing this movie, but you would think that dump truck of money they gave him his lawn, he would have.
Well, apparently this was a passion project for him, Alex Winter, and the 2 original creators, that they've been trying to get at least this installment going for at least 10 years. Like, I remember reading back in 2010, like, yeah, we got a great story for the third one. It's going to be great. And based on comments, it looks like the plot line had been pretty much the same all the way through, minus maybe some tweaks here and there. But
Yeah. That's good. I'm glad they got it done,
Yeah. I like actually the title of the movie, Face the Music. I think is really good.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's some again, overall not the best movie, but there's a lot of points in there, like, and you might even pick up on these things a second time when you watch it again. Oh, that was really smart. That was really smart.
Yeah. Here's the other thing too is I think that it's okay and appropriate that they made a Bill and Ted 3. They didn't go crazy and make a 4, 5, 6. This was not a draw situation, not a Terminator situation. This
A
isn't
Godfather
this isn't
situation.
like if they made Back to the Future 4 and it's like you're rolling around like, oh my God, this is gonna be terrible. Why are they doing this? This is a really bad idea. Like it was.
the
it was
third one was
appropriate.
a bad idea.
Yeah, it was appropriate. I thought that was fine. It was a good movie. It was a good movie. I'm trying to think of what else happened in the movie. Any other plot points?
I did like I didn't know who this guy was because music is not my world of my sphere of influence, but I did like Kid Cudi's cameo appearance, and he
Yeah.
just mysteriously knows how all like quantum physics and
The
everything going
rapper or
on.
whatever? Yeah, I
Yeah,
didn't know who that was at all.
Me either.
Yeah, I wasn't familiar with him either.
uh, he's a rapper, I guess, and they gave him a cameo in this film, which is fine. I guess he's been in other movies and whatnot, but I did like how like for no reason whatsoever, he just happens to know everything about quantum physics and all that, which is I think a good little it's a funny little bit.
Yeah. He's played by himself, I imagine.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. And Kristen Shaw wasn't as annoying as I was expecting her to be, so I was happy about that. Who played Rufus's daughter?
Oh yeah,
Oh yeah,
she
she
was
could,
terrible.
other projects.
Hmm.
But
It was clever how they had Rufus in there. They kind of basically took obviously the video from the original, made it look kind of holographic-y,
mhm.
and then cut away when he needed to say something that had not been previously recorded with video, obviously.
Yeah, it was nice to see him again.
Yeah. Kind of like a little museum or something.
With the
Like
time
like
machine, it still works
here's
somehow.
what it would have been an interesting plot point is if so that I guess phone booth is almost like supposed to be like a little part of like a little museum, but it was just like in a random spot,
Yes.
random area. It should have been that they go to the future, disguise themselves, and then go into like a Bill and Ted museum, and then it's like they're walking through their lives, and then they're like, trying to steal the music or whatever. I thought
Right,
that
'cause
would
it's so
be funny.
obvious that the future would have the music, right? That's the problem. It's
Right,
so obvious, and it's bad that they just ignored that.
right. Um, or they could have gone to the museum in order to steal the booth or whatever. I don't
Yeah,
recall why did they even steal the booth? What I mean, did they not receive a time
No,
transport
it's
device?
no, they were given like all the musical instruments to write the
Oh, they
song in
said
the
figure it out
future.
now, and then they stole it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so we can't figure it out, so we got to go. We'll go to the future and take it from ourselves. Isn't that stealing? No, it's from ourselves. So yada yada.
yeah. It is clever, but they could have just gone to the museum and stole it there, and stolen the time machine.
Well, I think that's the thing. I think the concept of these movies is actually really quite good. It's the execution that just is like listen, we're smart guys, but we're not rocket scientists, and we've sat here for what 20 minutes and figured out better plots for these movies, and it's not that hard. That's I think part of the criticism. If somebody would have put their heads together who actually could make this movie and came up with a better story, I think we'd all be a little happier.
True.
But again, remember it is a comedy though. Like it's a fine line because like Back to the Future is a comedy, but it's also a lot of like sci-fi, like an adventure. Where this is, I think, more heavily on the comedy side. You
But
know?
you get a pass. You're giving it a pass because it's a comedy. I don't think that's fair because there's a lot of comedies that are really well done, and I
Yeah.
think it's too easy to say, well, it's this or it's that, so it's okay that it wasn't right. The things that we have issue with aren't that hard to get right in this day and age. In the 90s, yeah, you could say there wasn't a lot of competition for that stuff. Now, but it's basic comparison. But in 2020, there's been a lot of good movies.
No, I get it. I just feel like you gotta compare it to the level of the other movies. You don't understand where they're coming from. I mean, like in Bogus Journey, they go through all this work to get the smartest people in the world are these two aliens. They happen to be dead in
Station.
heaven. They
He did say that in
they
this movie.
steal
He
these.
did say
They go to a hardware store and get a bunch of random stuff and somehow create these crazy robots. And then all the robots do is run up the evil Bill and Ted just kind of give them and go, well, I guess we're screwed, and then they punch their heads off like it's like, what was that 90s toy? Where
Rock'em Sock'em Robots.
exactly. I mean, so you could just be like, okay, was that all really necessary? You know. So I think it's just judging it on the level that these movies are kind of made on.
Well, see, I had issues with that when Bogus Journey. I mean, unless you're going to play it off as all this build up and the joke is all they do had to punch him once. That's fine. But, well, let's not talk about Bogus Journey because that movie is terrible. But the
Look, for Excellent Adventure, they show up at the very last second for the history report, and yet somehow somebody's controlling all these lights.
Yeah.
And they have like their presentation is like 2 hours long, and they somehow figured out like, okay, we'll have you do this. We'll have Sigmund Freud we'll lay you down on a.
Here's a difference to that though.
It's just funny. It's just
the movie.
fun.
It's weird. It never makes sense. But by that point, you're into the movie and it's earned its hand wave.
Yes.
I don't think. And that it's also the climax of the movie. I guess originally the climax of that movie was they're just supposed to be in like a classroom giving their report, and it was like really dull and like uninteresting. So they reshot it. And
was that right?
Supposedly, yeah, supposedly. And in this one, you're not talking about like the ending bit. You're just talking about like the fundamental of like, okay, this is how we need to make the story to work. Like it's almost there. Just need another like fine tuning, I feel, to make like, okay, we need to make this motivation make sense for the threat, make sense for Bill and Ted, and then just kind of go from there. I don't know.
Nick, to your point, I mean, yeah, Rick, I know what you're saying with the lights in the first movie at the presentation, but you know what? That stuff's okay. Just like it's okay for Jimi Hendrix to be sitting on the streets of in Germany playing his guitar. How is he playing the guitar? Where's no electricity? Where's the amp?
He plugged it into the time machine.
Oh, sure. Okay, great. I mean, hey, that's okay.
Sense, but
Brian, if you're not going to pay attention, I can't help you.
That stuff's okay. It's the simple stuff like how is time travel in this movie going to work? Stay consistent with that idea and see it through from beginning to end. I think that's what Nick is getting at. I think a little bit.
Yeah, in some ways. I mean, not even the time travel. I mean, just when I watch a movie, how I know if a movie is successful for me is if I don't realize all the issues until after the movie is done. Like if I'm I'm in for the ride. I'm like, all right. I may not notice that stuff. If I don't notice that stuff if I do notice the stuff while I'm watching the movie, then I know there's a problem. Like, does anyone remember the movie Phone Booth with Colin Farrell and it's like a 20-year-old movie at this point. It doesn't make a lick of sense, but everything in the movie just works so well that it's until you stop to think about it after you've seen the movie, you're like, oh yeah, what? But when you're on the ride of the movie, you're like, this is amazing. But I don't know. I guess whether it's a comedy, whether it's a drama, a sci-fi movie, I just want some level of consistency in what I'm watching. So
Here.
That being said, the movie, like, its tone is good. It's shot well enough. Yeah, I just wish I liked it more.
Competent movie.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like two idiots with a camera who are like, I don't know what we're doing. I mean, I like a lot of the little bits. Like, I like the robot. I like the little bit when they're in hell and they talk to the two demons, and it was just like little like, yeah, there's a nice guy, yeah, real nice guy, yeah, nice guy. It's so dumb, but you don't need that. But it's just a little moment that works.
That was good. Like, is that a robot? That's a robot in hell. That's weird. It's good.
And I know this is me being nitpicky, but I have to mention it. So Kelly is killed with everyone else, and she's down in hell, but she still has her phone, and she's somehow still talking to her mom in the future. Anyone catch that?
I did. It didn't bother me because who knows what kind of tech they can have.
I guess it's a weird bit though. It's just very weird. Unless that's her personal hell that she's continuing to talk to her mom, but
That would
not
make
enough-
sense.
I don't know. Not enough to pull me out of the movie, but just one of those things I know. I was like, that bears more investigation. But
I think it was funny that Death was demoted.
Poor Death.
And I like how, in one instance, I like how they did not go into more explanation for that. But I think if they did, it just would have ruined the joke.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he had like a nice house with like glass windows, and he had like all his stuff was around, and he's playing his bass. Yeah.
And I did like it was the daughters who were like, okay, let us talk to him. Let you guys stay out here. We'll talk to him.
Well, yeah, the daughters were really the heroes of this movie, and I think that was maybe one of the best things they did, the smartest thing they did, to make them the heroes. And I mean, honestly, if they made a movie with just the girls, I'd probably watch it, and I'd probably be more excited to watch that than Bogus Journey ever again.
Oh, poor Bogus Journey.
My wife was saying the same thing about how they should have a spin-off with the daughters.
Yeah.
Maybe they were Thea and Billy's Excellent Adventure, or
You could do it. It could be done. I mean, can't be any worse than these movies.
So I haven't seen it, but apparently Bill and Ted was so popular that they had a cartoon show, and they had a live action series as well.
this is true. And they had a cereal that was based on the cartoon, which I ate.
I think I do remember that actually.
And they had video games. They had a game for Nintendo, Atari Lynx.
Oh yeah, during that time, if anything had any minor level of popularity, they milked it as much as they could.
Oh yeah.
I don't remember the cartoon very well, but I do remember watching the live action movie or live action show.
It was a TV show?
Yeah,
Who was in it?
nobody's. It only
off.
lasted like 4 or 5 episodes or something, not very long. I remember not hating the show, but then again, this was back in 1990, so who knows? I haven't seen it since then. It was probably terrible, but
I'll check that out. I didn't know that was a thing. I'd be curious. What was the plot? What was this? They have a phone booth or?
they had a phone booth. And I think each week they just went on a different adventure for whatever reason. Like they'd meet historical figures. I remember there was one episode they met Elvis, and they had to do something with Elvis. But yeah,
So kind of like Doctor Who.
Exactly.
I guess. I don't know.
Kind of like Quantum Leap.
Oh boy.
I have to say that since being a kid, whenever I think of Socrates, I always picture what he looks like in Bill and Ted when I think of him. I'm like, that's the guy. That's him.
That's fair, because you know what? I think there's a lot of truth in that. That's
Yeah.
exactly right.
Socrates?
Yeah.
Isn't that what they called him at first?
Socrates.
Socratic.
Yeah, Socrates. They had Billy the Kid look after him.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Geek.
Those were good movies.
Mm-hmm.
All
I
right.
love that first one. It's so good. But do you think they'll make a number 4?
No.
I don't think so.
I would be okay if they did it with the daughters. I don't think they need to do it with Bill and Ted again. I think this was a fine way to kind of close it all out.
Right. I mean, what could they do? They've already established that they're not the ones that it's their daughters. So.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, there's no more to do. No, don't milk it any further. We're good.
Although Rufus did have Bill and Ted sign their CD in the first one, so I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's one of those. I was wondering going into the movie if the daughters would play a bigger role, and so like in like the song or whatever. But what's interesting is they didn't write the song, they didn't play the song. They were more like the music producers, like, okay, you do this, you do this. They're like arranging the music. Bill and Ted still played, and they were the lead players in the song when they actually got down to it. So it was a group effort, but like Bill and Ted still were the musicians playing.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I wish the band that they created had more of a payoff, because I feel like that ending I felt was very, very rushed. I don't know why. But like they get there, they put up the amps, they start playing, they have the billion of phone booths that they go and give everything to everyone. And
Well, I thought, yeah, I agree. I thought
and then the movie just ends.
I thought the song at the end of Bogus Journey was a lot better. Fit more, felt like a big like rock anthem, and played into the credits and everything. I didn't feel like this song, this kind of outro, was as good. And they did. I don't know if you've watched after the credits, but there was a little bit more after the credits, but it wasn't really that good.
Nick Fury came by and recruited them into the Avengers.
Girls, the dog.
Yeah, it was just them. It was just them. Really old in the old folks' home, and they're like, "You dead? No, man, you dead? No." And they just get up and start playing the guitar for a few seconds.
I kind of like that. They rocked that one last time. It was nice. It wasn't necessary, but it was kind of nice. It was. There
were so many things they could have done. Like I like the after credit sequences, because you can have like really short little comedy things that are just completely random but are in that world. Like they could have gone and did something with death, or they could have. There could have been so many things. The robot, they could have gone back to the robot, and seen him do something.
They could have asked, "Why are you still here? The movie's over."
Yeah, exactly.
I guess they just, if this is going to be the last one, they probably just want one last bit of Bill and Ted playing. I don't know.
I think if they were gonna play, they should have played the song from Bogus Journey.
Okay, we get it. You like the song from Bogus Journey.
It was a good fit. They should just played that one again.
It's a cover.
I understand, but not in that world. We
don't know that. They don't say that they actually wrote that.
I'm saying it happened.
All right.
Let's say this. You know what? The thing too is the wives, the princesses.
Yeah.
They're almost completely useless in this entire movie.
Well, they were kind of like that in Bogus Journey too. I mean.
Well, they're damsels. At least they served a purpose in that movie, for better or worse.
True.
Like this, they're like, you're gonna lose your wives, and then the future wives take them on a time travel thing, which we don't see. We don't know what they look at, and then it's just kind of like, oh, we decided to stay with you anyway.
Right.
What?
Makes no sense.
Although I do like the couple therapy. That scene was kind of funny.
I mean, if you really want to pick at it, like if you could say like, okay, well, at the beginning they kept saying we love you, and the end they said I love you. What changed to make them realize that they were saying it wrong, or that they're individuals, right? I mean, so if we really want to pick at it, we can look at something like that.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think honestly, if this movie would have came out in any other year, with any other circumstances in the world, non-COVID, it would bomb. But the fact that this movie came out during COVID, there's nothing else to go see, there's no movie theaters, it's going to do very well.
I don't know. I'm going to disagree with that. Okay. I mean, I think the movie's going to do well, but I think if it came out in 2020 with no COVID, especially in a month like August, where it's like a dumping ground, the big blockbusters of the summer are largely gone, I think it would have done well, especially given its budget of $25 million.
Yeah.
So I think it would have made back its budget and maybe a little extra. So I don't know. We'll never know unless we take the time travel booth and travel to a different reality, which Bill and Ted may or may not have done, because the movie doesn't explain that. But
I still think it came out at a really good time. I think we needed this. We just needed something silly and goofy, and just to distract us from the chaos that's going on right now.
You're here. I agree.
I also think it would have been funny if, like, because they keep using the time booth, right? Because originally the time booth was supposed to be, um, it was like, oh, we'll make this because it'll blend in with 1980s because there's phone booths all over the place, right? But now, like, you literally you see any sort of like old school phone booth or phone like that, and you actually point it out, and you're like, holy shit, look at that over there. I wonder if it works.
Yeah.
And how germy is it? You know what I mean? Like that's exactly what you think today in 2020. So with them, like obviously it was still a phone booth because they stole it, right? That wasn't meant to go back in that shape and that form to that time. So it would have been funny if, like, I don't know, maybe somebody came and picked it up thinking it was garbage and hauled it away, and they had to go find it. We had to go start going through like the junkyard to like locate this thing, or ends up in like in a museum again or something. They have to go to a museum and steal it a second time or something.
I mean, it can just be a throwaway line where someone's like, "Look at that! That's a phone booth. Haven't seen one of
Yeah.
those in years." Something, just a throwaway.
Right. Exactly.
I mean, there's a lot of lost opportunities in this movie, and I think that's what bothers me the most. Lost opportunities.
There's a lot you could add in.
Easily. And it wouldn't take a rocket scientist to figure it out. Just a few guys sitting around at a table talking about it.
Or on Skype.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I feel like that's every movie, and it's so easy to say it after the movie's already been made, and it's like, oh, well, they should have done this or that.
They had 10 years to work on this thing. 25 if you go back to the end of the second one. I don't know.
But there are so many movies where if it's not perfect, we're like, they could have done this, they could have done this. Idiots.
So by that logic, Star Trek Picard was the perfect TV show. Threw that back at ya.
I have not. I will never watch an episode of that. I've watched the reviews. No, I haven't. In fact,
you haven't seen it.
Mike,
I
have
saw
a
the
podcast
reviews.
for you, sir. I have a podcast for you to watch.
I saw the reviews.
No,
It
you
just-
gotta watch it. It doesn't do it justice. I agree.
Haters are gonna hate.
It's not that. It's not. It does. It is what it is. But you gotta at least watch it.
All right, what's our final ratings here?
I don't know, 2, 3 out of 5. They're depending on my mood.
Yeah, I don't know. I really liked it. It passes the Godfather test for me, which is I acknowledge its existence. I don't pretend it doesn't exist like Godfather 3. But no, I enjoyed it. Like I said, it was a welcome distraction. And it's possible if it came out like maybe the year before, maybe I wouldn't have enjoyed it as much. But right now, it was just perfect.
Yeah, I give it a 7.5 out of 10. I think it's definitely a rent, not a buy, but enjoyable movie. Not a waste of an hour and a half.
No, yeah, I watched a lot worse things in an hour and a half. So I would say a C plus, B minus. Probably maybe a solid B. I don't know. Again, I'm with Nick. I think it just depends. I had a couple beers. I had something to eat. I was in a good mood. I like the movie. 5 years from now, I'll hate it.
I don't regret watching it, but I'm glad I saw it. I'm glad it exists. I was just Let's wrap this up. All right, everyone. We've talked about Bill and Ted Face the Music. We faced the music with Bill and Ted, and I think that's going to do it for us tonight. So I'm Nick.
I'm Brian.
And I'm Mike. Thanks for having me.
Welcome aboard. You're welcome to come back. I see you've been added to the group chat, I think. So if you have any ideas for episodes or things you want to do, just let me know. I'm open to. There's no rules to this thing, so if you have an idea, throw it out there. I'd be happy to get going on this and get you on board there. So
awesome.
Batman versus Superman. Let's talk about that one.
I'm down. I have yet to see it, so
I haven't seen it either.
I haven't seen it yet, but I'll watch it. I'll watch it for.
Go watch Man of Steel, and watch Batman vs Superman Ultimate Edition.
We could do that, or and just hear me out. we could hammer nails into our dicks and we get the same effects. Throwing that out there as an alternative plan.
Ryan just likes to punish us.
It's a good movie. Batman vs Superman is not bad. I've seen it like 5 times.
So you hate Ghostbusters 2016, but Batman v Superman
Yes.
is.
We'll talk about it.
Brian's covering the camera. He's like, all right, I'm done.
Alrighty. All right. That's going to do it for us, folks. We'll talk to you all later. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
See ya.
Hey, guys. Take care.
You've been listening to the all-new CultureCast. We try to post new episodes every Monday evenings 3 to 4 times a month. Check out our backlog. We could be found at allnewculturecast.libsyn.com. You can also find us on Apple iTunes and wherever else podcasts can be downloaded and listened to. This has been the all-new CultureCast, a Saltwater production. Original material, copyright 2020. Thanks for listening. As Rick said, he loves Star Trek Picard and thinks Ghostbusters 2016 is the best movie ever. So,
He's lied. Edit it out.
Well, that's the thing. You give Nick a bad rap about liking Ghostbusters 2016, but you like Picard and you like Bogus Journey, Rick. So, I mean, clearly we all have really bad...
You were getting very confused. I hated Picard. I hated Ghostbusters.
Oh, yeah, but you like Bogus
Bill
Journey.
and Ted is a rental. Everyone just settle down over there.
Everybody calm down right now.